Hey guys, this is Wayne, and I'm back again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Kiwi Ears X HBB Punch. Now the Punch is a Basshead tuned IEM. It is another collaboration between Hawaii Bad Boy and Kiwi Ears in this case. He's actually had quite a few collaborations that dropped in 2024, especially near the end of the year. He had like the Deuce and Arcadia drop, but the case with the Punch, this is more of a really deep hitting Basshead set. So if you are a Basshead, this is where you want to stick around. And if you're more of a balanced, neutral treble head, this may not be for you. You may not enjoy this set as much. If you click out, I would not begrudge you. I would appreciate if you didn't, but this is a Basshead set. So that out of the way. This is a one dynamic driver, two BAs, and two EST set. It retails for about $449, so it is a bit on that more upper mid-fi range. You are getting really good quality of bass in this case, as Hawaii Bad Boys come out and said like the driver used in the Punch is one that was supplied in the Jupiter set that he had, which is another collaboration that he released a bit ago. So you're getting really good drivers in this case. You're getting a tri-brid design, so you're getting BAs as well as ESTs for the treble. And overall, I think it's a very good IEM. But yeah, let's get further into it. Okay, so this is the unboxing experience, but I want to kind of show you what you get with the HBB Punch from Kiwi Ears. You get a very good IEM, but kind of like the Zagat and other Linsol sold IEMs, it's kind of bare bones. And shout out to Audio Amigo. He actually did a side-by-side comparison with what the KE4 kind of looks like, and it's very similar to the packaging for the Punch. But yeah, so this is the box. You kind of see it around, and it is, I mean, while I'm doing this, I will go on a small rant. It is kind of a little bit disappointing on what you do get with the Kiwi Ears X HBB Punch, but it goes in line with the KE4, right? So they're trying to maximize the actual IEM itself versus what you're getting accessories wise, and that's both a negative and a positive in a way. You can see the HBB logo. This is the Kiwi Ears logo. They are actually very gorgeous looking. Gonna take this out slowly. Put that there. I'll show what the actual IEM looks like in a second. But you get this little display, and then you take it out and you get the accessories. The accessories are kind of very bare bones, little promotional card here, but if you open this travel case, you get the cable and you get a set of tips. Now, I actually don't mind the Kiwi Ears Flex tips. They didn't actually include them in there, and likely it's due to the Kiwi Ears Flex being a little bit more bass-friendly tips. These are, of course, trying to do balance, I think, and they're okay. They're just not that great tips, honestly. But, I have a lot of tips as a whole, so it's like, whatever. It doesn't matter too much to me. The cable itself, it's not bad. It looks nice. It feels okay. It wraps pretty well overall. I don't have any issues with it. It doesn't feel very, super premium, so it feels kind of like a generic or general IEM cable. But it's okay. I can't necessarily say it's the worst stock cable, because it does fold pretty well, and it's very soft, and it works well. But I mean, I have one of my favorite cables of all time right over here, the Zins, and I think it's the SO8. I could be wrong, but I think it's the SO8. This is a set that I really love, and this is a modular cable. This usually retails for about, I don't know, $45. If you get a promotional code, it works really well. And I think this cable is so much better than what you get from the stock cable from Kiwi Ears. But that's just my own personal take. I think the accessory packages little bit lacking for the price point of $400 and something. So I would not recommend this for somebody who's like, oh, I've never had an IEM before. I don't want to go full bass head. Like, I would say you're gonna be okay for the most part, but I think the accessories could be better. That's just my personal take. So the actual IEM themselves, they are very, very nice. They look good. The shape of him is not necessarily fully conventional. Like, there's this little small indent here. You got the pressure vent, and thankfully it is a nozzle with a lip. Thank goodness, because I'm getting tired of smooth nozzles, yo. So tired. It's too smooth. It's too much of a good thing. If you kind of look at the nozzle lip, it's 5.9. So it's not too big, it's not too, like, it's not too small. I think it's substantial enough, and it works for a lot of my favorite tips, like the Final Type E. But that is the IEM themselves. You can kind of see it's the right, it's the left. Or, I'm sorry, it's flipped. I'm super blind. We do it live here, folks. So this is the right side with the Kiwi Ears, and then this is the left side with the HBB's logo. They look very good. They're very premium feeling, like the actual IEM themselves. Bit weird in structure for this like little protruding part for the ear, but overall I don't really have a concern about them. I think they feel very comfortable in my actual ear themselves. But yeah, that is the Kiwi Ears X HBB Punch. So how does the Punch sound? That's a good question. Yeah, bassy. Yeah, bassy. It sounds bassy. It's a bass headset. It's unabashedly a bass headset. I would summarize this as being a bass head all-rounder, and what I mean by that is you're getting good slam, you're getting good punch, it's got a good amount of mid bass, the sub bass is elevated, it's gonna rumble in your head a little bit, but at the same time, you're not really missing out on the mids. You're getting good vocals. It's not recessed, it's not too far back, you're getting good treble. The ESTs being implemented here likely are providing that good balance without being harsh, without being sharp, without being thin sounding. It comes off as very well balanced, even though it is graphing as like a L-shaped type of IEM where the bass is elevated. I think it does a very good job as a bass head all-rounder, and that's kind of where I'd hang my hat on it. So the bass for the Punch, it's deep, it's punchy, boom, punchy. It has a good amount of slam, it's full sounding, it's got good attack, decay is lingering just perfect enough to be a chef's kiss. I think overall bass heads would be very satisfied and very happy with this. Now, it's not going to be the most precise. I think you're getting good texture, I think you're getting good fullness, I think you're able to hear a lot of the notes, the instruments. I think overall it's very good. The quantity is also amazing, and I think that's where it shines. That being said, it does graph similarly to other basshead themed IEMs, and so I usually don't like to show graphs, but in this case I'm going to, with the set I've not heard before and with the set I have heard before. And you'll see they graph very similarly. They have good amount of sub bass, a good amount of mid bass presence. It's just the perfect amount of bass for a bass head without going to hedonistic levels like the Scarlett Mini or something like that. If you are looking for even more bass than this, you're gonna want to go with the Scarlett Mini or even the Nightjar Duality. I have heard the Duality and it's phenomenal and probably the end game bass headset. But the Punch graphs very similarly to other beloved bass headsets, and the quality of the driver, being the one that was found at the Jupiter, I think goes a long way in giving you a good amount of note detail and texture and retrieval. And I think overall you can hear a lot of details in the bass while also getting a good amount of satisfying and fun thumping bass notes in there. So yeah, overall I think you're getting just the perfect amount of bass quality and quantity for a bass head. So the mids for the Punch, they are very well done, honestly. I think the male vocals sound very good. There's a good amount of fullness to the voice notes, a good amount of note weight. It's warm, kind of carries over from the mid bass. And I think instruments also sound very good. They're very detailed. Piano and guitar strings, like they all sound excellent. You can very clearly pick out the details from it, even with the like bass head tuning that they have. I think if I was to nitpick on this, it would really be more about the female vocals. They're not necessarily like husky sounding. They're not sounding like they're recessed or anything like that. They're not too far back, but they could use a little bit more elevation. And that's just more of a, like, I'm trying to pick out something to talk negatively about it. Female vocals overall sound very good. They could use a little bit more air there. It could use a little bit more elevation just to make them sound a little bit more like ethereal, I guess, in a way. But at the same time, like, that's not going to be to everybody's tuning. And I think, like, for the most part, a bass head is going to listen to this and be like, oh, that sounds pretty good. It's going to sound very good. It's not going to be the best mids. It's not going to be the fullest sounding mids. It's not going to have that, like, BCD element to it where it's trying to like envelop you in the mid-range. But overall, I think the Punch hits very well to balance and give you that mid-range performance so you're not missing it while still providing the thunderous amount of bass. So the treble is very smooth. It's got the proper amount of air. It has good amount of clarity and detail. It's not blah blah blah, harsh, not siblet, not blah blah blah. It's not necessarily safe treble. Like I don't want to like make it seem like I'm saying it's safe. It's boosted in a way to help provide some balance with the bass, but it's not the star of the show. Overall, I think it's done in a smooth and tasteful way to not make it so that's missing in tracks. And it's very clear. It's very crisp. It's got a good like fullness to it. It sounds very natural, and it's likely due to the ESTs that are being utilized here. But I think it provides a good balance with the bass, and I think it's like not tuned to be sharp or sibilant or where it feels like it's piercing your ears if you listen to higher volumes. Like I never got that feeling at all. And overall, I think the ESTs implemented here are very well done. So the technical performance for the Punch, it's alright. It's alright. It does alright. It's not the widest sounding. It's got relatively good depth. It's not like super intimate. It has a good amount of air to it for the soundstage and everything like that. I think separation for instruments are very good, and I think the imaging and layering are very good. They don't stand out as being like way too above average, or doesn't sound like, they're not like bad at all, but it's not the star of the show. The musicality in this like set is the star of the show, and so you're not getting fully analytical. You're not getting a full like clean or clear sounding IEM. It's not super technical, but the separation and everything like that, it's there. It's not missing. It's not like it's pushed back or not taking a full back seat. It's still there. It's just letting the star of the show shine in this case, which is the phenomenal bass. So who is the Punch for? The Punch is going to be for people that love bass. Obviously, right? Like if you've gotten this far or you skipped ahead, this is going to be where, if you're a bass head or you have a bassy like music preference, this is going to be like for you. The Punch is specifically for you. It's not going to necessarily hit for people that love orchestra or background music or scores, or like maybe even jazz might be a little bit too bassy for you. But I think overall, if you have like modern music, like in your library, or like rock, hip hop, I think it works really well. Like the Black Keys is one of my favorite bands of all time, and I think with how like funky and how blues rocky it is, it works really well, especially with some my favorite tracks like Lonely Boy or Gold on the Ceiling. If you are looking for a bass head IEM, like this is for you. The Punch is going to be right in your alley, and I think this is who it's catering to. Not going to cater to everybody's preference, and again, if you're more of a neutral or like balanced type of like music lover, I think this is something you might want to skip, but if you do love bass, I mean, this is it. So comparisons. I want to preface this section by saying that this is tough because of two reasons. Number one, I have not heard the Nightjar Singularity yet, and it is not for lack of trying. That is something I'm going to be getting in. I'm going to do a review on, and I will do a probably updated comment in this video to talk about how the Punch compares, and in the comparison section in the Nightjar Singularity as well. But you know, I bring that up because it grasps very similarly on the bass all the way up until the upper mid side. They have a very similar rise in sub bass and mid bass. You know, there is, you know, similarities there. So I'm going to do a comparison later on, and I will update when I have heard it. The other thing I want to bring up is the Maestro Mini is something I've heard, and it's something I own, and I've listened to it many times, and it grasps very similarly to the Punch, but my Maestro Mini has actually been RMA hell since SoCal Can Jam. I did receive it back, and then it turns out the left IEM is still broken, so I sent it back. But I was able to confirm with the right side one of my favorite parts about the Maestro Mini. So I do feel like I can still give a bit of a comparison between the two. And I would say 8 out of 10 times, I would probably prefer the Punch to the Maestro Mini. And the reason why is because the Punch is still giving you a good amount of detail without being overly V-shaped or V-inflated. It is bass head oriented, but I think the BAs and ESTs in the Punch are actually like providing extra detail and clarity and air, and you know, it doesn't sound like harsh at times. The Maestro Mini can get a little bit hot here and there over prolonged listening, but I feel like I could listen to the Punch for extended periods of time. The 2 out of 10 times that I probably prefer the Maestro Mini is that the Maestro Mini, being as small as it is and having that like bass cannon technology, it rumbles a little bit in the ear, which is very fun and very immersive. It's like having a Nintendo 64 rumble pack in your ear, where like when a bass note drops, it's like almost like trying to shake your head a little bit. I don't think the Punch does that. The Punch is more conventional, like bass head, where you know, it's deep sounding and everything like that. It doesn't have that same energy where it's trying to shake your head that the Maestro Mini does. So that's why I would say like 8 out of 10 times, I'd probably prefer the Punch over the Maestro Mini. But you know, the Maestro Mini is still very good bass head IEM. So if that is something you already have, I don't necessarily think you need to like side grade too much. It is, you know, it is something that you will get some upgrades on the mid side and the treble, but you know, they're very similarly priced. I think you could be okay with just keeping the Maestro Mini. But yeah, overall, 8 out of 10 times, I'd probably prefer the Punch over the Maestro Mini in this case. So other things to note. The volume listening that I prefer on the Kiwi Ears X HBB Punch is more of that moderate to moderate high. You can listen to it at lower volumes and it works well. You're gonna miss a little bit more of the vocals and the instruments, but it's still there. Higher volume listening, the treble never gets too hot or spicy, so you're good there. It'll really rattle your skull by pushing it up to a higher volume. Overall, I don't think it matters too much. It's really your preference in this case. I would never say like it's not volume limiting in this case. As far as sources go, it works more with a more neutral oriented set. I think with tubes, it kind of gets a bit too colored and too flavored, but at the same time, that may be what you want, and it works really well. My only main thing is that it does love power. It wants power. Like I had the Abigail Pro, and it worked okay, but I felt like I was missing something from it. And when I put it onto my JDS Element 4, or even my Muse M5 Ultra, like that's where it opened up. So I do think you're gonna want a bit more of advanced dongle DAC, or you know, DAC amp combination. That'll really open it up and give you the power that the Punch does need. Again, with tubes, it works pretty well. I did listen to it with the N3 Ultra from Cayenne, and I think that works really well on the modern like setting and gives it a bit more soundstage. But overall, like, I don't think you really need to run it on tubes. Just something neutral that has a lot of power, and you're golden there. So in conclusion, the Kiwi Ears X HBB Punch is one of my favorite sets under $500. Now, I don't want to get into a price discussion or price wars like note, because I feel like talking about price when I'm reviewing an IEM kind of negates or kind of shunts on people that have different circumstances. But the Kiwi Ears Punch is just a phenomenal basshead IEM. If you're in the market for it, at $449, you are getting a hell of an IEM. It slaps the competition. Yeah, I had to get another one in. It does a very good job of competing against other basshead IEMs, and overall, I think it does what it's supposed to do, which is provide great bass quantity, quality, energy, and it's very fun and musical and engaging. And I think at $449, you can't really go wrong with the Punch. Overall, I give the Punch a 9.3 out of 10, which rounds down to about 4.5 stars. It's a great IEM, it's highly recommended, and if you're in the market for a basshead all-rounder, this is it. So yeah. That's it. That's the end of the video. All right, appreciate you guys. Bye.